how profitable the holiday season was for Amazon. And finally, in non-earnings news, on Friday, we'll get the latest jobs figures. The unemployment rate is at 4.7%, the lowest it's been in years.
That was Samira Hussain, of course. We've got James Hughes with us, Chief Market Analyst at the Foreign Currency Traders GKFX. Nice to see you, James.
Hello, good morning.
So it's quite an interesting week. We're just hearing this from Samira, some big names reporting.
Yeah.
The so-called FANGs, as it were, which is Facebook, Apple, Netflix and Google. We haven't got them all this week, but we've certainly got Facebook and Apple. But then, you know, Asia's really quiet. It's Chinese New Year. Yeah. Many markets closed. We only had Japan and Australia notably open today and a few others, but most of them closed. Yeah,
and I think you get that situation. Sometimes you get weeks like this where things will start off incredibly slowly and they will be a lack of data and it gives everyone a nice ease into the week. Well, it would give us a nice ease into the week if President Trump wasn't in the White House. But, it gives us that start. But these FANG stocks are incredibly important. It used to be a case that we'd all look towards the big banking stocks, the big oil stocks, and they were the dominating force behind what drove financial markets. However, these days we have to look towards these enormous technology stocks. We've had Google already. That disappointed at the back end of last week. So there weren't fantastic numbers. So we look towards Apple, of course, one of the biggest companies in the world. We look towards Facebook. Those two are massive companies that are going to report.
James, if I'm an investor and I'm looking at, say, the American market at the moment, do I pay attention to what's happening on the macroeconomics, i.e. with Mr. Trump, the whole Trump question? Or do I look at the results that are coming out this week and say, yeah, not too bad, I'll put some money in that, and forget about Mr. Trump?
Well, it's a good point, actually, because if you look at the way the markets have been rallying ever since the November the 9th, that's a very strong rally. It's been a lot of movement to the upside, but the foundations of that haven't been particularly there. We haven't seen too much in terms of different news which would really lead it there. But with Donald Trump in the White House at the moment, you have two issues. One is the fact that we just don't know what he's going to say next or what executive order is going to come next. Usually with any president, we wouldn't necessarily pay any attention to things like this from a market point of view. Globally, you would, but from a market point of view, you wouldn't. On the other side of this, those markets are still rallying. The earnings have been particularly good since the start of earnings season. OK, Google slightly missed it, but we have seen some very good numbers. So we're very much caught at the moment. You have real uncertainty, and that's what the market hates from Donald Trump, but actually good financial numbers which are helping boost the market.
And I understand we've got the Fed midweek. So what's Janet Yellen and her team trying to figure out at this point?
Well, she's trying to figure out what the hell's going on as well with Donald Trump, like the rest of us, I think, to be perfectly honest. But I think
she's poised to up rates again soon.
She's poised to up, not this week, but potentially next month she's poised to do it. The key thing about Janet Yellen and the Fed is the fact that at the start of 2016, or at the end of 2015, she told us there'd be 4 rate hikes. We only got 1. Now, they're very hawkish on the back of strong fiscal policy from what they think is going to be strong fiscal policy from Donald Trump, and the fact that the economy is doing particularly well. So with that in mind, the Fed has to be pretty hawkish. But Janet Yellen doesn't always go along with that because she's very dovish herself.
Thanks very much indeed, James.
Thank you, James. Keep an eye on her as the week progresses. She's back in the news. I've missed Janet.
Yes.
I feel like I haven't talked about her for at least a month.
Before Christmas,
yes,
we last talked
indeed.
Still to come, getting spick and span, how cleaning, gardening and pet care can lead to a tidy profit.
You're with Business Live from BBC News. First of all, though, talking of profits, cereals. It is big business. Did you know the best-selling cereal brand in the UK apparently is Weetabix? Well, it's just announced a £30 million investment.